Rise for the Pledge of, we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United
United
States of
States of
America
America and
and
to
to
the
the
republic
republic
For
which
which
for
it
is
which it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
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 for
for
all.
all.
for all.
All right, let's do a roll call.
Robert Salvo,
Present.
Anthony Scandariano,
Present.
Ian Brasso, present. Zeke Balin, absent. Patricia Butas,
Here.
Adrian Yoga,
Here.
Elliot Ruga,
Here,
Betty McGrath,
Here.
Victor Morvillo, absent.
Okay. Can we get a motion for approval of the minutes from last month?
Yeah, I'll motion.
I'll second. Butas.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
aye,
All right. So we have three applications for review. We have one in person in the audience right now. What's 919?
Did Patrick send you that you were on the agenda today? No. So you will be here next month. I haven't received your application yet, therefore they told you to come this month. Is this for an MPP application?
It's for the sod vertical program.
Okay, so yeah, that's an MPP. Laura did not forward me. Elliot, do you happen to have Laura's phone number who I can and if you could forward that to me, I could give her a call and see if she can quickly forward that information.
let me see if I have it.
We'll try to get the information because we don't want you to have to come back. But I never received anything that I've been putting on the agenda.
And I do not have a home or cell number from Laura.
Let me see if I happen to have accrued it over time. So if not, we'll try to figure that out.
So this is an MPP application that never got to,
Yeah, it never got to me, so therefore it also never got to any of you guys. But I'm gonna try to see if I have Laura's phone
Should be
number.
on the Boonton website now.
well, she'll have her office number.
Yeah, not herself.
Yeah. Zeke may have it. So I'll text Zeke, see
You
if,
got it in? Okay.
yeah, and see if I can get that from him. Actually, I think I have it. Laura Wagner, correct?
Yep.
All right. Laura, this is Ian, the Secretary for the Historic Preservation Commission. I have an individual here from for an MPP facade application. Says that he was directed to come to this meeting. However, I don't see any information for him on the I don't have any information for him on my email address. If you could send that to Ian, IN Brasso, BRASTW@gmail.com, thank you so much. Bye. I was not able to get a hold of Laura, so if we can move this to the end, hope and give her some time to respond to me, that would be
Makes sense.
great.
Okay.
Agreed. Okay.
So
So moving on to the applicants,
Yeah.
because it looks like these are window signage. Or at least the one is 802 Main Street. So we could start in order. I apologize. I don't have a printout for 906. Was that
906 is just the picture.
okay?
Yes.
Does everybody have this on Zoom?
Everyone should have that. That was a part of the information which I sent.
Why is not there an application for this sign?
It was previously sent. I don't know why there isn't a full application with it. This was what Patrick sent to me. I think that
I remember this.
you remember
Yeah.
this?
This is they took the consignment store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
It was like,
So we discussed the blade sign,
yeah.
but not the text below. And we also discussed, I think maybe a window decal, but not the
Not the text.
not the text below.
Could you share your screen so we all know that we're on the same page? I've reviewed everything, but let's make sure we're all talking about the same thing. If you could
Sure.
just
So
share.
this is Spookville.
alternate fashion for all, yeah.
Let me.
You're saying, Ian, that this was included in their previous application?
I don't know if it was included in the previous application.
I'm sure it was not. I would remember that very well. I'm sure it was not. The text below. And is that text already there on the window?
I believe it
I-
is.
The text is?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, I believe so.
yeah, I walked by it a couple days ago. So if it's already on there, what are we
Yeah.
going to discuss? Because I absolutely do not feel that the word hate should be on any window myself, especially in a historic district. I think something positive is something, like positive vibes are always welcome, or, love of all is welcome or something like that. But I mean, in a historic district, I don't like seeing the word hate, but that's more of an opinion than probably going with the rules, I don't know.
Yeah.
What
I just
about
don't,
Adrian, what about the context of what it says? I mean, I think they're agreeing with you about the vileness of the word hate.
yes. But I would rather see something positive, meaning a positive word. I don't like to see the word hate anywhere, because if I'm driving by and I just see the word hate, or I walk by, or, I'm learning to read or whatever, I just don't like the word hate myself. But then again, there's no ordinance that says that they can't have the word hate. I just don't like the word hate. I would have preferred to see something a little more upbeat and, positive, this is a space of positivity. All are welcome, something like that. But
Let me just say this. Why isn't the applicant in front of us to hear our
Yes. True. Agreed.
Number one, we need to discuss this with the person that's running the business. And number two, they have an illegal fluttering sign in front of their business, which we don't allow others to have, saying that they're open. That, it's not a big deal, but like, we need to have enforcement by our property maintenance enforcement people to enforce these things amongst everyone. And
Equally,
I
yeah,
think
agreed.
this is a discussion we need to have with the town enforcement officer.
So we actually do have that discussion on the agenda later on the agenda. So if you think that this is something about enforcement, then I would suggest saving that until that section on the agenda. I don't know of any ordinance that would prevent this. It's under 30% of the window area. I don't know if we have any ordinance on the language that is allowed to be on window signs. Elliot, do you know?
No, no, as long as we're not um, offending a particular person, libel, or we're doing something that's not acceptable in normal transactions with people. Yeah, I don't think we have anything that forbids this. And this is hate is not welcome is a slogan for a movement of inclusiveness. It's it is a challenge to not name the thing you're against. Um, I understand what you're saying, Adrian, that it's a word you'd like not to see at all, but maybe you have to name it to advocate against it.
Yeah, I think Adrian's point is well heard though, is that it should be more about positive. It should be about what you're for, not what you're against. So it should be more inclusive than exclusive. So, and I think it's a negative thing. I don't disagree with it, but I don't think there's anything you can do about it, unfortunately.
I agree. I don't think there's anything
Yeah.
that we could do. I think it's just a matter of taste. Like we've had this happen in the past where we've given an opinion.
Right.
Our taste would be we would rather see it in, XYZ color instead of ABC color. And the applicant can run with it or not run with it,
Right.
as a matter of taste. Where I just, I like to see positivity. And I think hate is not welcome is not positive, but I would rather see, all are loved and embraced here rather than hate is not welcome
Right.
because it's almost confrontational.
Do
Well,
know,
keep
like-
in
that's
mind,
exactly what it is.
do keep in mind the aesthetic of the shop itself.
Okay.
It is it's like a punky kind of alternative fashion, which their branding probably would not use those words as well. So I think this is Zeke is being admitted in. I think this is within technically their brand.
Okay. No, I agree. And I'm sure it is. I was just saying, like, I would have preferred to see something that's more, inclusive versus exclusive. I think we kind of said that. So, with that being said, and it's up already. They're not going to change it. They
Yeah.
shouldn't have to change it. If that's their taste and that's their, brand and that's how they want to bring up business, that's great. It's just I would prefer not to see the word hate anywhere along
Mhm.
Main Street in a historic district or anywhere else.
If,
I just
yeah,
don't like the word
if
myself.
if the text wasn't approved in the prior application, what's the recourse? Or you're saying it was approved?
No, it was never approved, and that's a good question.
But yeah, but
They would have to take it down, I would say, if we
I
deny
mean,
it.
what's the like? I guess that's for the discussion portion. What's the violation? Like, is it a monetary amount? Like you didn't,
Right.
regardless of what the sign says, if they didn't get it approved or the text, I apologize.
They could be fined technically because they're in violation. Um,
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm sorry for joining late. This is Zeke. I think that we cannot. I would be careful about commenting or not approving an application because of the content. If we're concerned about the content, we should probably alert the Pat Laverty who sends us these and the council. But I think in general, in terms of the lettering, the certainly the amount of coverage of the glass, for a glass decal, an attempt to comply with the historic, the period of significance and the overall impression. But I think, getting into it's a fuzzy line. I don't know where it is, but I do think, word choice. If it's too, we've commented in the past on text being too small to be legible, or too much text on a small sign that becomes busy. I think those are all fair. But I just, those are my thoughts. The other one was going to be, yes, I think Mr. Ruga is right. We can issue, the town can issue fines, could issue a fine in an instance where, someone has put up a sign without approval, as in this instance. But it doesn't seem to be the trend. Probably they would get a notice to, if we were really being strict, we would say they have to conform and remove the sign before they make the application. But I don't think we've done that in my knowledge for another applicant.
I don't think we have either, and I've been there, a long time. I don't think we've ever made anyone take anything down, unless it was something that was a blatant violation, like it was too big, or it was hanging too low, without the 10 feet. But, we can't make them I don't think we can make them take it down, but I do think, we don't want to set a precedent that everybody can just go ahead and put up any sign and then we'll approve it. So,
That's the fear.
they're kind of out of procedure,
I think it's worth noting. I mean, regardless of how we vote on the approval, it's worth noting to Pat that this sign is already up, and we'd like that to he can get a warning without a fine, and that would be I think that would be appropriate in this instance.
I agree.
But we're talking about, I mean, I don't think anyone should be fined for putting up a sign that is approvable, that would be approved, but hasn't been approved.
What would a warning entail? By the commission? It would be a warning from?
No, I
it'd
think
be
code
warning by the
enforcement.
code enforcement.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think this discussion really is theoretical. I mean, Adrian expressed that she doesn't want to see the word hate. She'd rather that there be a positive statement, but she's not saying she's not, we shouldn't approve this. It was a matter of personal taste, and she wanted to express that. And is that correct, Adrian? Or am I putting words
No,
in your-
you're absolutely spot on. That's exactly how I feel, is like we've done in the past many times, Elliot and Patty, of course, you've been here a bit longer. I mean, we've made recommendations, when people have come with signs that are,
Yeah.
maybe a font was too puffy. We've had that, like where it's like we can't really read that, or like we said, too much, whatever. I would like to have been able to at least have the chance. And if they say, well, that's our tagline, okay, that's your tagline, just like, just do it for, whatever, sports or whatever, that might be their tagline. I don't know that because they're not there. And then too, I think by giving a warning, we're saying to them, okay, you put this one up, but don't put another one up unless you come. They may want to put a larger sign on the opposite side or on the glass, whatever. So they have to just be warned that, okay, we're going to let this one stand because it's not in violation, but we're not going to let other ones stand, whether they're in violation or not violation. You've been told that any sort of signage now has to be presented at the at the meeting and through the application process. That's all we're doing. So, the next door neighbor, when that merchant may come in, it just kind of sets a precedent.
Okay. Can we make a motion for a warning?
I don't
Actually, I don't think that's our determination.
Yeah,
I
that's
think-
what I was trying to, yeah.
Yeah, if it is, I mean, if any one of us can inform Pat that the sign is already in place, if he's not aware, and he should be issuing a warning. So,
It would probably come best from Rob, now that since he is chair,
Send an email.
to send an email to Pat.
Okay.
If you don't have his email,
I have Pat's.
Okay.
No, I think-
We're not voting on anything, are we?
Sorry?
No.
We're not voting to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
I was second.
No.
Good.
Right. Should we do a roll
All
call?
in favor, sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
You want to do a roll call or? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No,
So maybe we need to do a roll call too.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Robert,
Aye.
Anthony,
no.
Ian, yes. Zeke,
Yes.
Patty,
No.
Adrian,
Abstain.
Elliot,
Yes.
Betty. So
Two no's, one
we
abstention.
have 2 no's, 1 abstention, which puts us at 5 yeses.
Okay, so the motion passes.
Before we move on, I just want to say that if we voted against, he would have to take it down. And it was their risk to have this fabricated and paid for and not approved.
Yeah.
That's the risk you take.
Right. No, it is, but I still think that that's just it's not something we like to do. So I get why we should just try to avoid it as best as possible.
I agree. But it puts something on the applicant.
It does.
I am gonna, Rob, if you do it, I'm also the council rep. I will also,
Okay.
speak to Pat and Neil and just let them know that we'd like to tighten up on the approvals process. That they shouldn't be, if a sign
Doing
goes
it
up,
beforehand. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Okay. The assumptive close shouldn't be there is basically what's going on.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, what's the process for a new merchant coming into Main Street? Did they get like a list of kind of expectations or cans and can'ts?
I don't know. As a, I can say as a second floor business owner, when I signed a lease, I didn't get any information packet, but I don't know if that's true for shop storefronts. I'll find out and let you know next month or via email. But I think that I think that there is nothing. I think that it's mostly either word of mouth or that most shop owners are aware that there's probably some permitting process for signage, and they look into it themselves.
Main Street usually would tell them, and they have the design guide. But I don't know if that is universally the case.
Are we moving on now? Yeah. Okay. The discussion has ended for this application, 906 Main Street. Moving on to the second applicant, 1000 Main Street. Anyone on Zoom? Any other people on Zoom besides us, or? No? Okay. So this is another sign application. Sun Spa. Says they're from Los Angeles, New Jersey. Wonder where that is.
Well, they got the zip codes right though for LA.
Okay. Everybody have the rendering?
No.
It's the black and white rendering.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It's at the last page of their application.
I feel like this is already up too. Another sign.
I don't know. I don't
think I just
go
drove by it.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
Is this true to scale?
I think so.
Okay.
Anyway.
It says
And is it just a photograph? That's it?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, it says photo of existing facade is included.
14.
And it is not checked for rendering of sign as it would appear on the facade.
Right.
So I think they have it and took a picture of that.
Wait, photo of existing facade.
Yeah. Which this was not a spa beforehand, so it wouldn't.
It's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah.
I do see it also says that it's for 2 windows and 2 signs. One that is 68 by 50 and the other is 33 by 22. I only see one here. Not 2.
Would you share your screen just to make sure that we're looking at the same thing?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm only looking at one picture, so.
And I doubt they're going to put the same photo in both windows.
Yeah. Again, this is, I think, part of the reason why it's important to have the applicant here so we can
Yeah, I know, we
clarify
can't, we
these
can't,
types of questions.
So can't we table it until next month when they show up? But
I
is that
think
too
so.
late?
That would be my recommendation.
yeah.
Yeah, can I get a motion to table?
Yeah,
Conversation?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But I think we should ask Patrick to let the applicant know that their application is tabled until approval.
Because it's incomplete. We have
Yeah.
questions.
Definitely.
And they want to know what those questions are. Come next week, we'll ask them. Or next
Next
month.
All right, so closing this conversation, moving on to 800 Main Street, which is another, it says 802 Main Street, Ian?
It is 802. The name of the document is 800 Main Street, so that's
Oh.
why I put 800.
Okay.
But the worksite location is 802.
Okay, 802 Main, this is sign permit. Let's see.
This is for the new empanadas
Oh,
place.
anyone have
And
this?
I did make note, and it is noted on the application itself, that all this gray area will be clear. I think it's just the way that they put on the sign. It
I
was
get it. Yeah,
noted as being transparent, but it is going to be transparent.
right. So it's just the bottom part and the
Right,
top
it's the
part.
bottom, and then there's parking in rear, right there, if you guys can see that on online. On the right-hand side, the right-hand most window applique, there's parking in the rear at the top. And then there are some additional
They name the foods.
yeah. So I was dealing with a pop-up for the AI assistant from Adobe that kept on blocking where I was trying to put my cursor. And they are aware of the 30%, and they say that it'll be less than 30% on here as well.
So they're
I think
five.
they need to come in and present that because it doesn't look like it from what they're showing here.
They do say
they write
that-
it on here. So I think that shows that they are aware of it. I would have this as equally as valid as someone coming here and stating it out loud.
Yeah. I get it. It makes, for the information they've given us, I have a clear understanding of what their intention is.
Yeah, I think this checks the boxes of what we typically look for in an application.
Yeah.
And it does not have any really question in my mind what they're trying to go for. The colors that they're using, it's a color rendering. They noted the discrepancy between what it would look like and what it wouldn't be in terms of the transparencies. They're aware of the 30% ordinance, which is usually what we check. So I have no issue with this.
And this is just the windows, the awning and the sign stays?
Correct. Awning and sign is not a part of this application, and it doesn't look like they're trying to change it yet. However, I would be fine with stating that on the notice that of approval of this, that if they would like to change the sign or the awning, that they will have to come back before us, just so that they are aware of that as well.
Right.
I have a question. The left side to me looks like more 30%. Is anyone
Why? Because of the bottom part and the top part?
right? If you were to imagine just shifting the bottom part up with the top part,
It's probably 50%.
It looks more like 50%.
It does.
So my thought would be, and I guess the applicant's not here. Can we either, approve the right and ask them to verify that the left is in fact 30%? And what like that should be essentially a square footage calculation. Like they gave us the area of, I think, the window and maybe the overall. Maybe that's the window dimensions.
Yeah, it looks like it's 40 7/8 of an inch by 81 inches.
So
And
we could get an area calculation from that, but then the area of the decal that's not transparent, or alternatively, I would say, cut the two top pieces, and I would approve the left side as well.
Right. So you're talking about number 2 and number 3 as denoted by the applicant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's that's the right side. Oh no, sorry, it's the yeah.
Because there's one all the way at the bottom as well, which they mark as number 1. And there's 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this. They're saying that all the gray will be transparent. Does that include the gray stripe between the maroon and blue?
I believe so, yeah.
That's not white?
Looks
the same color gray.
Yeah, it looks
That's
great
what they're
to me.
claiming is transparent. I don't know.
I do think that would be a good clarifying question.
Let me just say, excuse me, let me just say something, that we need not approve any application without the applicant in front of us from here on in. This discretionary conversation about what should be done,
Yeah, it doesn't matter because they're not here to hear it.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not here to hear it. I agree.
I agree
And
too.
it specifically says on the application that the applicant should be present in order for approval. And if they're not, then they can't expect an approval.
And I don't necessarily know if we're conveying that to everybody or Pat is or whoever, but
So
make sure these people are here, especially since it's, they're just kind of assuming we're just gonna rubber stamp it.
I can get the exact language that Pat sends to the applicants, if you give me 1 second.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Please be advised that your application has been submitted for review by the HPC. The next meeting will be at this date at this time in the chambers here at Town Hall. While not required, it is strongly recommended, underlined, bolded, underlined, and highlighted that someone be present to address any questions or concerns the commission may have.
Yeah.
Well, therefore, I think it should be required.
Yeah, I think so too, but I don't know if we can change that.
I think we should.
We have questions and they're not here. So it was their choice not to come. I think they took the risk, and I would vote to table this until they can satisfy our questions.
I agree with Elliot.
Yep.
Okay, could I get a motion to table 800 Main Street signage application?
I'll make a motion to table until the applicant is present to address our questions.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
1 abstain. Okay. All right. Ian, we want to
Let me.
Probably you want to try Laura one more time or?
Yeah. If you so send me that, and we can have a discussion. I don't know if we can officially say something without the pull-out.
Ian, it's Patty. Can you hear? Me?
I think he's on the
I think we
phone.
forgot to approve.
You cut out.
What was that, Patty? I think you might have cut out for a minute.
I think Patty, you there or yeah, you were frozen.
Me?
Yeah, you're back now. We didn't catch
Okay.
what you were saying.
Well, I just think we only approved 1 month's minutes and there was a second month's that we were supposed to approve. I could be wrong.
If we approve May's minutes.
There are paper minutes,
Oh,
so
you want to do that at the end?
we
Or
can do that at the end.
Okay.
In fairness.
No problem.
we can review the application if you email it, right? Since he's here.
I think we should.
Yeah.
In fairness to them, because I also did just change my email and my contact, so it's possible that it was sent to my other email address, which would be no fault to the applicant. I'll make sure that Laura knows in the future. Typically, this is communicated to Pat, and then Pat will forward it along to me as a part of an NPP application.
Okay.
But the applicant is here. And I don't want
That's
to
what we
fight
want.
the applicant being here, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what we've been asking for everyone to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ian's forwarding the application to everybody. Yeah.
Patty, we're getting a nice tour of your room.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how to turn it on. Well, fine. There you go.
I just forwarded to the group the application, and I'm going to scan and send some additional information that the applicant has brought in person for those of you who are online.
So we'll wait a couple minutes.
Yeah.
For everyone to receive it. I haven't gotten it yet.
Little things.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
There it is. Nope.
Was it a big file, Ian?
I haven't received it either.
Uh, yeah, it bounced back. It's too big. All right. Gotta think about the best way to do this. That's the limitation of Google Groups. Um, Let me see if I can compress it if they have that capability on here.
Are you able just to share with us on the screen or is it too big?
I can do that, yeah.
Maybe in the
Trying-
interest of time, that might be the easiest and then send it to us,
I agree.
compressed later.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. So here are these. I'll scroll through it in a second. I am sending the rest of you all the additional documents. Okay, those are also being tricky. This way. Okay, so those are proving difficult. So I guess I'll just do difficult pictures. Thank you for your patience. I apologize for this. Where do you guys go? Okay, hopefully you were able to receive or you're going to be able to receive the additional pictures. Looks like I need to readmit Patty. All right, so I'm going to scroll through this. These are the figures, the bottom. Yes, I'm sharing, but let me see if I can move this over to the other screen.
You're not emailing, you're sharing.
It's too big for me
Too big,
to.
okay.
Stopping the share for a quick second while I
Sure.
move this over.
What was the address there, Ian?
Sorry,
919?
What is it? 919 Main Street?
There we go. There's that. Yes. All right. Now can everyone see?
Yes. Great. All right.
So here are the match mounts. Description of work.
Can you read it, Ian? I'm still seeing the applicant information.
Yeah, I'm just seeing the top part. Yeah.
Oh, I need to redo the share then because I thought it was the other one. Here we go. Share screen. Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, scroll back up for them.
Yeah, let me scroll back up for you guys for the match information.
Okay.
See that?
Okay.
Can we see the description again?
Yeah, right there.
Thank you.
If you would like, you can come up and the
Mhm.
mic and get a description of the project. There you go.
So we're removing once we show you the pictures, we're removing the existing shingles that are on the facade, removing the wood trim that's there, that's all rotted out, and removing any other wood that is rotted behind underneath the shingles. All that is gonna be replaced with lumber underneath the shingles. Everything that's on the facade facing is gonna be AZAC, which is like a vinyl, which will outlast any one of us, so that's why we're putting that versus wood. And then painting it with either a satin black or a black beauty, Benjamin Moore color.
Okay.
Can we see the photo rendition rather than just the
So
The
the
text
rendition,
description?
the rendition I don't have, that's something I provided Laura, I just have a picture of the actual, the way the building looks now.
Do you have it, Ian?
you have a picture of
The rendition I don't have, I gave Laura my only copy. I hand sketched it, so.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
we can look at what the building looks like now, and you can describe from that
What
what
Yeah,
your,
go
what
on
your
Google?
intention is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up on Google. It will probably be a couple years out of date. So do keep that in mind.
There's a picture I emailed you. That's
Oh, was
second-
that the second
that's the second
picture?
email, yeah.
Okay. Let me pull that up then. Okay, so
The only thing I'm gonna note to to the commission is when it comes to lighting, we're possibly gonna change the lighting to hi-hats if there's space. As of right now, the electrician's saying there's not enough space to put hi-hats in. So we're just leaving the existing lights that are there on.
I'm downloading the picture now, and then I will share momentarily.
What's the number on Main Street?
919 to 923.
Did you get any feedback from the NPP stakeholder committee?
No.
I had a potential family emergency, so I do need to step away. My dad called. He's not feeling well, so I apologize, but I do need to step out of the meeting. So I'm going to do that now. This is
Thanks,
Adrian.
Adrian.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Adrian, for your
Yep.
time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
While we're waiting, I had a question for the applicant, if I may.
Yep.
Um, did you get any feedback from the NPP committee?
No. I was just told to come to
Okay.
provide the renderings and then to move from there. So basically, you see there's the rotted old shingles and that green
Yeah.
facade. So that green facade fascia board's coming off, and that's gonna be painted black to match the actual bottom of this, like where the framing is for all the signs and the door where 919 Main Street for that apartment is. So all those shingles are gonna be black shingles to match the AZAC being painted black.
Okay, so the AZAC is going to be around the windows?
No, it's gonna
No?
be where that green down right underneath the shingles is.
Okay. This
Right there,
here.
yeah, that's all gonna be black, and that's gonna be all AZAC, and underneath as well.
Okay.
And that's why we can't, the electrician says pretty much there is not enough space between the sign board and the actual space of the fascia
Okay.
board to
Yeah.
actually put a hi-hat, so that's why he's saying to leave the existing lights that are currently there.
Okay.
Okay.
Because everything's pointing up at signs and pointing down at other signs, so
Right.
it makes sense.
Are you painting the brick at all?
No,
No. Okay.
What?
I would never want to do that.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Nope.
We appreciate that.
You said something about the electric not being included in your application, or?
The original, on the original application, yeah. That's
Oh,
why it
okay.
was 12,000 instead of 15.
Oh, okay.
So,
So
but it
he,
doesn't matter anyway, because the match doesn't make a difference. What Laura explained to me is you can only get so much and this is what you're getting. That's the max you're gonna get.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then the only thing that they told me is the money cannot be dispersed. First, if you guys don't approve. Second, if it's not paid in full, and that's when they issue a check out.
Your portion.
Yeah. The contractors need to be paid before any checks get cleared from you guys. From the town, I mean.
All right. Anybody want a motion to approve?
I have a couple questions,
Okay.
Go ahead.
if that's all right. So it's new shingles. Are you reframing the entire roof, the awning?
No. No, we're not reframing it. The only thing that's gonna be like new lumber is gonna be if there's anything underneath those shingles that's rotted out. Just to
Okay.
replace the existing that's there. I wanted to come out a little bit further, but after speaking with Pat, he says the town won't allow it because now there's a coverage issue. So we can't bump it out like a half a foot or anything like that.
So you're gonna, are you done, Zeke?
Well, no, if you don't, but go ahead.
The lighting, are you gonna use the existing lighting, which is just those bare directionless bulbs, it looks like?
They're LEDs. They're just in those bulbs. They're in those casings, but they're all
Yeah.
LED fixtures.
That was one of my questions, Elliot. Yeah, I think we could not approve reinstating the visible conduit or the light without a fixture. That's one. I think that we, period of significance, again, you're going to be removing that board. You actually, if that's the case, you would have to install new conduit. I would just say, that should be concealed electrical behind the fascia, the wiring, and then your lighting should be a more period appropriate fixture or more if those are blade sign lights, which it looks like they are.
Yeah.
I think we maybe could recommend some more appropriate fixture that, yeah, that is, I think, more in keeping with the character of your facade and of the district. And then the other one I would ask is actually, I have two other questions. The downspout that looks like there's a downspout. I'm not seeing it right now, but oh, there it is. Yeah. Does that tie into the sidewalk? I guess that's got a receiving pipe. Yeah. Okay. I don't see a ton of that on Main Street, but and then also, so is that just gonna get replaced, the section, I guess, when you do the new roof?
Yeah, they're just gonna put a new, from where they calculate where the windows is, right from above the shingles, they're gonna put a new piece in, or they're
Yeah.
gonna try to save the existing piece and tack it right back in.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I don't have any comment on that. And then the last one is probably the biggest one, which is most of the applicants, you mentioned the other kind of the charm of Main Street that have these awnings have been doing standing seam metal roofs or bronze. I guess the asphalt shingles, I would want to discourage. Is that, did you say you're maxing out the grant, or is there opportunity for more grant?
The grant is maxed out already.
7,000, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm over whatever the max of the grant is.
Okay.
Because on the application, it doesn't say anything about, not having an asphalt shingle.
No, it wouldn't in the NPP application, but that would be part of the historic character of the district for this committee to decide. I would definitely feel better about so really it's just the new roof, replacing rotting material right now, and then a new AZEK fascia board.
Correct.
And
I think there's asphalt shingles there now. That's why to go with the red, it doesn't make, for me, it was more of what's Boonton all about, right? So more of the colors that were always in Boonton on the original color palette was like a black, gray, or like monotone colors. That's why we went with black when we redid all the signage for all the windows. So
it looks nice. Yeah, I do think
that's why it looks sharper with the black. So that's
yeah,
why we went with black.
I don't have a problem with the black color. I don't know what to say. I don't think the asphalt shingles are appropriate for the district. It's an improvement grant. I'm just one vote, but I'd rather the new asphalt shingles than the old dilapidated thing you got. So I understand. But I guess, if I had to choose, I'd probably prefer that the conduit is concealed and some more handsome light fixtures are used, and keep the asphalt shingles.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
I can see if the conduit could be concealed with the contractor.
I would, if he's replacing that fascia board, I don't see how he's not removing that. He could just put it back, but
and then pop it into just have the boxes, you're saying?
Well, some of those boxes look like they're just like junction boxes. I'm not even sure. I can't tell that they're doing anything.
So, the one, if you go to the left where Sheep's Hill is, the sign where Sheep's Hill, that one light actually comes out of that box.
Yeah.
The fixture is mounted to that box. And
that's lighting her her sign.
Yeah, that goes up.
Okay.
Those are going up, and then the other one to the left of that is an outlet.
This one right here.
Yeah. Interesting. Do they use that?
It's active, so it could be used if contractors got to work outside.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the code is on, placement of the boxes, the receptacles, but certainly the light, I'm not opposed to the light, and I can't really tell from this photo what that fixture is, but the conduit and the boxes should be concealed with then where you've got it, a more again historically appropriate fixture, I think, for lighting those blade signs.
Well, then they would be gas lamps. Zeke.
I mean, Elliot, come on. There wouldn't be AZAC either. I think we're mostly concerned with the appearance of the district.
So if can we, Ian, are you
Yeah.
able to slide that over again to the second storefront? Is that appropriate right there? That kind of light? Since they're like little pancake black LED without bulbs in them? Like the one above Jim Tuitive is like an actual LED bulb that sticks into the fixture versus these are like pancake LED lights.
I don't know what that is. I can't see from the fixture.
You mean it's very flat and it's
Yeah.
LED?
Yeah, it's really thin.
What are you recommending for lighting, Zeke?
Well, I think a good example of a spot is, though it's not historic, it would be, but it is, I think, more appropriate to our our town's facade, which is our main street. I'm trying to remember the address. It's the beauty salon we approved a few years ago, with the black vertical charred wood. Does that ring any bells? It's next to the theater. I think it was the old. I can't remember the old historic store that was there, but anyway, it's like a gooseneck, directional, like a flexible gooseneck. It's very modern, but it's very, when it doesn't draw attention to itself, and when it does, it's handsome. But I would actually not. We actually at that meeting debated whether or not we should allow that fixture because it was more modern. And I think we got it wrong. I think we should have taken a more historically appropriate, so something with an escutcheon, with a simple molding profile or shade. I think if you, we just talked about this, I think at last month's meeting, when we have applicants that have existing lighting, this is the town's chance. This review is the town's chance to make improvements to those fixtures. So I would, I don't think it has to be, I don't want to hold up the construction. I think it's great that you're repairing, this the rotten wood, and going to improve the appearance. I'm glad that we have money available to help. But I think, just personally, I think I'd be, it's why we're the Historic Preservation Commission. I'm going to say, let's hide the conduit and try to make an improvement to the light fixture while you're doing the work. We could probably, if you would agree to it, we could probably, certainly we could just email some options, or you could email a proposal. But those are my thoughts.
So the gooseneck fixture that you're talking about is like what they have next door to the building that we're looking at right now, the property. It's basically like a lamp that comes over with a big round dome. That alone is not it can't work over these signs, just because you have an upper sign and then you have the lower sign. The lower sign is kind of tucked away and underneath that fascia board.
I think the one that Zeke is talking about is actually lower down on Main Street. There is a beauty salon next to where your property is. I think Zeke is talking about a different one that is further
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I could try to get I think it's a black facade with gold letters.
Well, what I'm getting, the only thing I'm saying is with the gooseneck, you have to have one angle towards the upper sign that's hanging, and then you would have to have another one angled in. And then
So-
that starts cutting into,
No, I understand that the typical
Department.
Boonton Main Street, you know, kind of the shaded down gooseneck sconce
yes.
wouldn't work in this location. And I'm glad you're not putting them above the awning like so many applicants have to light your roof. So another great point, positive comment. So, but in terms of lighting your blade sign and your signage band, you know, it's got to have a different term. Then it's not that kind of gooseneck. The one that I'm thinking of, and I think there are other options. I think a pancake might work. I do think that it's probably better, you know, a light fixture like for what you're doing that doesn't draw much attention to itself is better than one that attempts to be a flashy, you know, sort of, yeah, gas lamp appearance, which also I don't think would fit on your small fascia board. So I don't know what to say. You know, if we're just looking at this application tonight for the first time, that's not your fault. But typically, I think, especially for an MPP application, I'd come a bit better prepared, maybe with you know, with a recommendation there. Again, I don't want to hold it up, but I probably, if I were going to motion to approve or second it, I would want the motion to include some agreement on the concealing the electrical and addressing the light fixtures.
Zeke, I agree with you. I mean, this is our, you know, these are facade elements that really it's our watch to make sure they're appropriate for Main Street.
And it'll be a real improvement. I mean, you know, you'll notice the lighting as well.
Question. Would it be possible to defer this to an online approval if we like and have a correspondence with the applicant just so that we have all the questions answered? He has
Yeah.
all the things that
I think we should do a provisional approval with the follow-up emails to confirm the changes that we are suggesting. That's the way I would do it.
Yeah, so if I could say, I have no problem tucking away the conduit, you know what I mean? And if anything, it could be maybe tucked underneath if they can't run it behind, if that's okay with you guys, with the commission. The only thing is with the lights, I don't see, if we go with the smaller, like hockey puck type of lights, I don't know why that could be an issue when half of Main Street that's gotten this MPP is done like a hi-hat. I just can't do that because I'm kind of not spaced to have those hi-hats underneath.
Yeah, and I think we have too many of those hi-hats, and I think, you know, so that a lot of them are poorly placed. I'm not, you know, again, I can't tell from the photo. I wish I could, because it could be that they're fine. Is your plan currently to reuse the existing fixtures? You're not doing any new light fixtures?
The plan is to try to put some hi-hats in underneath, but what the electrician's saying is there's not enough space to fit the actual fixture, because what would happen is he's already done work in town for the storefront that I had. And with the old building inspector, he wanted fire rated hi-hats. So if you put a fire rated hi-hat in there, that's what he's thinking that the town's going to want anyway. You're going to have to put in a 4-inch can, and a 4-inch can ain't going to fit in there to put a hi-hat in. That's what he said.
I do think we have been having conversations about having bare bulbs like this and how that.
Yeah, that's going to be gone. He's going to switch everything over to the new style, which is which is what they have there. That's all LED now. The LEDs now come like that.
Cool.
Can you have dual heads on those? Focus one on your blade sign and the other on the band sign underneath.
That's what it is. That's what he's doing. He removed one from there. There was originally 3 there.
Okay. I mean, I
This is
think,
the middle storefront is the newer lighting,
yeah.
and that's what we're trying to go for.
I-
The smaller, out of the tucked away light fixtures.
Would you be able to just send us another like closer up picture
Yeah.
of that, just so that like I think we can.
I can send you guys what it actually is from Home Depot. because-
That would be great. That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what
No.
we like to
Yeah.
have. So
Okay.
And I'll go, I mean, I'll walk by there tomorrow and take a look too. My thought would be, yeah, if we could, as Rob said, you know, approve this with the provision that, you know, I mean, however you want to say it, you know, addressing the conduit and the light fixtures. And from what you're saying, I think the light fixture you have there and that you're planning on replacing those bare bulbs with, would be a good choice. Would get my vote, but I would want to have. I wouldn't want to just not have the opportunity to get that email from you or go by and see it tomorrow. But if you'd be open to like the lighting and the electrical, you're going to try to work with us. Then I say if we have a provision like that, I would vote yes.
Okay. I think that's what we should do. All right. I'm going to motion for us to do that.
okay.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Alright. I guess
Well done.
You're
we're
all
all
good.
set.
All right.
We'll look for that email.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Of course.
Great
Thank
night.
you for your patience and staying around. You can probably take the physical stuff. If you could send these along with the email,
Okay.
that'd be great. And then also send any correspondence that Laura may have.
There's no issue with the color black, right? Whether it be the Black Beauty or the black satin.
They're part of the more
Benjamin Moore.
Benjamin Moore collection, right?
Yeah.
The historic palettes.
Well, the historic palette says Valspar. So that doesn't, half the stuff that's on the palette is contained in Lowe's.
Okay.
So that's why. So
That's actually good for us to know because we tend.
Because that's all that I gotta actually figure out if that's black satin or Black Beauty, because that's what it's gonna match. It's gonna
Okay.
match that color. So,
Okay.
okay.
Match.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you. Okay. Getting into discussion, did we want to, actually, I'll just make a motion to approve the April 2nd minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. Old business, Rockaway Historic District sign.
I inquired about 6 weeks ago with the Heritage Commission what the status was, and we are getting a sign. They're working on the wording now, and I'm waiting to hear back from them that it's completed,
Okay.
or they'll send us a proof to look at.
All right. Sounds good.
New business.
Is that me?
Design guidelines.
Yeah,
Um,
guidelines, awnings.
I haven't taken any action on the guidelines yet. If you guys are up for it, I would, I think we have, but we should have budget. I'll confirm if we have some budget for. I know there was budget for adopting the survey, which we talked about last time. The other one would be getting a consultant to take the lead on an updated design guidelines that the town would actually adopt as part of the ordinance. So if that's something you're interested in, I can check on the budget and have the town send out an RFP for what the cost would be for some probably someone like Connolly and Hickey who would review our design guidelines and tweak them and then propose the town to adopt them formally.
You have any idea what that might cost, Zeke?
Uh, I probably around $10,000. But I mean, I would guess between 8 and 14 before it gets ridiculous. I think.
Do you think we'd have support from the council?
I think that that a number of we have mixed. We'll have mixed support. But I think there are a number of. I'm just thinking of this tonight with a number of these applications. There's too many. I mean, this applicant just stated that he was told that he couldn't do an overhang on his awning because of coverage rule. And I know that could be accurate, but I know we've approved other applicants for extending overhangs with new awnings. It's not clear to me why that would be the case once and not another time. But code enforcement, I guess what I'm saying is I think there are enough issues that have gotten out that if the public have been upset about, that would warrant some increased muscle and oversight or teeth behind what we do. So I think I'd probably give it a 60 to 75% chance of getting approval from the council
for both incorporating as ordinance and budget.
Yeah, I think that they would probably feel a lot better about adopting it as an ordinance if they had a paid professional behind it.
Agreed.
Okay. We may want to discuss this, Zeke, to show how our commission has been effective in bringing positive economic change to the town. And I think we have.
I agree. The thought also occurs to me. We really, I had, when we were missing a secretary for a number of years or a couple of years, whatever it was, I proposed that the town dedicate that job to a staff member, just as the planning board's secretary is, a regular employee of the town. I'm glad we didn't because we got Ian, but it strikes me that that could be, preparing, we're supposed to do an annual report. I don't know. We haven't done one since I've been on the council. I've tried to start one, but, and I think once you had one, it wouldn't be that hard to reproduce annually an update. But it strikes me that, for all of us volunteers putting together the kind of annual report, well, we haven't done one yet, but, could the secretary be paid to prepare the annual report? It seems to me, yes, just like the minutes, secretary is paid to prepare minutes. Essentially a minutes is the annual report is just a summary of the minutes for the year. And
well, we compile how many signs we approved.
That's right.
That's right.
And I think with photos, some before and after photos, that I think, yeah, I agree. We do great work for the town. I think largely unknown.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the kind of case that's going to get some budget and the support for the good work we've done, but also the things where we've not been able to affect any positive change and make the case. We could have stopped that. We could have done better there, but we didn't have any authority. So that would be my approach.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I do think, one would be just getting approval, if we even need it, but it probably would be smart to do beforehand that, Ian could, and if Ian is up to it, but, to, get an hourly rate or however he would, whatever the compensation would be for, the report. And then, it'd be a real success, I think, to get one on the books, have it, present it to the council, have it adopted, and and let that, and along with the request for adopting the design guidelines.
That's smart. Agreed.
If I can, I'll just go into the only updates I have. I think Monday there was sometime over the weekend. I'm not sure if it was spray paint or just a chalk, but there was some graffiti on the arch bridge. Thankfully, not on the historic stone itself, but on the cement walkway entrance of the walkway. DPW is ordered to remove it. I think they generally can and do even if it is spray paint. But that was pretty. I thank God it was not on the stone.
Yeah.
But there is graffiti currently on Indian Rock, which always upsets me, and on the part of the blast furnace structure, the masonry arches, the kind of mysterious masonry arches by the blast furnaces. So, I know the police are checking the cameras to see if they can identify the culprit. And my recommendation is throw the book at them. And then on a similar vein, their town is going to be cracking down on litter bugs throughout town, but especially on Main Street. There's been a spike of misuse of the town trash cans. So people clearly dropping off trash to town trash cans instead of using the dump or their other trash services. So it's been unsightly. There was a lot of trash on Morris Avenue on Memorial Day, and town's cracking down on that. They're basically increasing the number of enforcement officers who are going to be and like the ability to issue a citation, making it faster and easier. That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, E.
Any other discussion?
I believe ordinance violations is a part of that as well. I know we had started that conversation earlier. Would we like to maybe have a meeting with Patrick specifically about ordinance violations that we have found? And I know last meeting it was discussed potentially asking him to prepare a report, a monthly report on violations in the historic districts. But what are everyone else's thoughts?
I think having
We used to get a
makes
report.
sense.
We used to get a report of warnings and violations issued, and to whom and for what.
Just an email report, or he was
Well,
coming?
it was something that it went to Neil and it went to us, and it was
Excel.
a weekly or monthly report of actually all the violations, whether they were maintenance violations or building violations and historic preservation.
It was like an Excel. It was tabulated,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I think they just stopped coming, right? There was we never told them to stop. But and I think that I said I was going to request that he start again, and I did not. I apologize. But I can have that emailed out, I'm sure, tomorrow. I'm sure he'll just generate the report and send it to us.
Cool.
But yeah, actually, I should do that.
I think that's quite appropriate given, the conversation that we had earlier about signs going up before the application. I think that's in the character with our inquiries, especially with given this month's applicants.
On every agenda moving forward, should you just put that as part of the discussion?
I will, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I did also, is Patty still on? I wanted to just, Anthony, you too, on that 800 or whichever one it was, the Stokesville application. The with the approvals and the warnings, I would like to I do think the town should be, not so, I mean, I appreciate the friendliness of the town, but I think that we should not be so reluctant to issue warnings and fines for violations, especially in Main Street. I mean, I know they get issued in the residential areas. I think there's been, I've heard there's been comments that, we don't want to turn off our business investors in the town, but, they, especially when they don't want to invest that much, and then they're turning off, the town to others. So those are my thoughts. I do think that, we should ask, and the problem is, and code enforcement isn't really checking, the signage. We notice it, and I think that we should, maybe it's the appropriate time is when we review those, the violation lists, and if we don't see that the violation is on there, we got to let Pat know to issue a warning, and hopefully that will take care of it. But I do think we should be, we probably have to take a bigger role in pushing Pat to issue warnings, or we can't just say fine, but to take action against a violator.
Right.
I agree. And if we keep it on the calendar, we won't forget.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we need to do a little study to show a town's Main Street or business district that has no historic preservation ordinances, and do a photo comparison and show how much more pleasing our town looks, how much more willing people are to make an investment. And I think it would really hit home the work we do and why it's important.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, who would do that? I think I agree.
I think all it takes is a camera.
All right.
I think that would fit well in the annual report, as loath as I am to say that. I think that would be a good inclusion as a section in an annual report. Is we're already compiling the changes in the facades that we've seen over the year within Boonton, and I think juxtaposing that to somewhere that does not have an active historic preservation commission
and ordinances.
Yeah.
and ordinances would drive home that point more.
I mean, it's going to be something like the strip malls in Parsippany or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, backlit signs, whatever you want.
Or even just compare Myrtle Avenue to Main Street.
Yeah, I think that actually is better because it's still within town boundaries, and that actually removes a lot of other factors.
There's no reason that Myrtle Avenue couldn't look like Main Street. It just takes oversight, takes some incentive, and maybe some carrot and some stick.
Yeah, true.
I think that would be the better comparison, actually.
Well,
because
Myrtle Avenue isn't the light. I mean, Myrtle Avenue is somewhat light industrial. It's not a Main Street commercial district. It's not a downtown.
fair.
But that was also a zoning decision, right? That like you have commercial. I'm thinking of you got Dunkin' Donuts, you got a bunch of different, you got dry cleaners, you got pizza places, and And the only reason they're, tucked back in a strip mall and not more pedestrian friendly and Main Streety is because of, regulatory choices the town made.
Yeah,
True.
true.
All right, good point. All right.
I'd rather shame it. I'd rather shame a neighboring town.
I agree. Actually, Elliot, I agree. I agree.
Why not both?
No, I think you shame the neighboring town, and then you could make the case that look, if we, even our Myrtle Avenue could look like our Main Street if we wanted to.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I have one other question.
Yeah.
So earlier this month, Patty sent out an email about the homes for sale in the historical district, Rockaway Street.
Yeah.
Was there a decision made is the realtor notifying?
Anything.
Oh, we can't. Okay.
We were talking about that before.
Yeah. I mean, you were saying that 2 probably already closed, and we have mentioned here in the past that it would be good to have as a letter sent out to everyone in the historic district, understanding in historic districts, stating what it means to be in a historic district. I think that was even brought to council. Is that right, Zeke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do have, the council is, I think we have budget and interest in adding historic signage. It kind of fell apart, but the council member Jake Hetrick was interested, and so was I, in not necessarily the bronze markers, but just like Jeff Smith had said, toppers on our street signs. So I think we just need like someone, it would be like Laura, but someone to just say, here's, the product that we would buy. And then the DPW installs it and we get it printed to say, historic district.
Right.
And then I think we don't have to, we shouldn't be too nitpicky about, well, do they know that it's, only halfway down Rockaway Street? They'll figure that out when they go looking at our zoning map.
Yeah. And I think that in combination with a mailer would do a lot of good. So I think, I don't know there's much we can do about these 2 properties right now, or these 3 properties right now, but we should investigate doing a mailer just to inform, as an informational kind of thing.
A mailer to whom, Ian?
Residents of both residents and business owners who are in historic districts.
Well, I think what Patty was talking about were people outside of our community who are interested in buying a place. Do they know what they're getting in for?
That's true. I mean, I think that maybe we should set up a time to talk with the realtor community.
Yeah.
And tell them about the historic districts and what they are required to disclose, and how we can work together in that. Like, if we have materials that they can use or print out and give to people, I think that's half the battle right there. Because if it's easy for them to tell the information, it would be more likely conveyed.
And if not a meeting, at least a mailing to the realtors.
Yeah.
Kind of information.
Add them to the mailing list, right?
Yeah.
Check out realtors within.
Just be Boonton Realtors.
Yeah, Boonton Realtors.
To start. I mean,
Yeah.
You're not going to hit everybody, but.
Yeah. I know that like Glenn Baker has been here before. He knows what the historic district is, and he's dealt with the commission before.
He's one of the realtors?
He's one of the realtors.
He's on Main Street.
Yeah. So if maybe we can use him as a contact point, we could reach out to him and say, hey, do you know of any of the other, what other realtors do you know of? And could you help us distribute this information?
Get it on our website, available for realtors. They can download it as they need it, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
So,
great idea.
You know, what would be helpful, Ian? You know, there's an association of New Jersey environmental commissions, which is very powerful. Wouldn't it be nice if there was an association of New Jersey historic preservation commissions who could share this information and,
oh,
you know,
yeah.
understand what other people are doing to make their commissions successful?
Are you ready to start up a 501c3?
I don't know if we'll pay a good enough salary, but maybe.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna do public comment now if there's any.
No one's here.
No one's here. All right, then we want a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Aye.
Bye.
All right.
Excellent.
I
All
will
right,
see
guys.
you all later.
Okay.